What's up, Savvy Expats? We have another special interview with a previous client of mine. Actually, as a matter of fact, one of the first clients of the Expat Relocation Program. Bruce, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Of course, of course. So, Bruce, can you tell us a little bit about yourself as we get into this?
Midwest guy my entire life,
Yep.
living in a small town of Wisconsin for the past over 30 years. Not too long ago divorced. I'm a certified registered nurse anesthetist. That's like a nurse anesthesiologist by training, and love the people of all the places I've been.
So that's really that's what attracted you to the Philippines, some people you'd say?
Yeah, because I've been to like 8 different countries, and really the people here are the nicest. They're almost always in a good mood, happy, smiling. The other thing was they all speak English, and especially in this area where I settled.
Going back to a little bit of your life in the States, you said that you were a nurse back there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You were working in a small town in Platteville, Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah, Platteville and another small town, Darlington, Wisconsin.
Darlington,
Two very small hospitals. Yeah.
I see. So it was actually good. When would you say we had our first call together?
Well, I had followed you for a while on the Savvy Expat vlogs. I think it was after my visit here last August, September. I followed your advice about if I moved to the Philippines, I should live in a large city. So
Right.
either BGC, Davao City, or Cebu City.
Right.
So when I visited last September, I came to BGC first and loved it here, and then went to Davao City, and then I went to Cebu City, and then back to BGC. And BGC is by far the nicest. It's just like a city in the United States, without the crime, without the homelessness, and everything is a little bit cheaper. It's expensive here because this isn't like anywhere else in the Philippines.
Yep. You get all the Western conveniences while still living in Southeast Asia, which is it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You know, to have a good routine here. You don't get brownouts or electricity outages. I want to ask you, Bruce, what specifically about the Philippines appealed to you?
Well, the people, I think, is the number one thing. The climate, I'm just really sick of snow and cold for 6 months out of the year. Here it's hot and humid, so air conditioning is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would say the people, though, because the people are friendly. Anywhere you go, you're going to find somebody who might be grumpy, but it's just so rare here. People are, if you're nice, they're nice, and sometimes there's some waiting. Government here is, anybody who used to watch the old MASH shows where Radar, the company clerk, would have Colonel sign everything in triplicate. Here it's that way. For an example, when I got my condo, I sat down with the representative for the landlord of the condo unit I was going to rent, and she had 5 contracts. I had to sign every page. And at the end, there was a couple of pages. So I think every contract, there was 7 signatures. And then there was a couple of other things I had to sign. And when we got done, I said, "Oh, which one do I get to keep?" And she said, "Oh, none. Now I have to take them to get them notarized." And I said, "Well, doesn't the notary have to witness our signatures?" "Oh, no." And she left. So, but I signed my name like over 30 times.
Yep. That's the Philippines for you. Even Southeast Asia in general is behind closed doors type of deals like that.
Yeah.
I see.
But I'll tell you, there's other things here like Gcash, which is like a debit card. They pay everything with Gcash. They pay their rent, they pay for food, they pay for everything. It's kind of like Venmo in the U.S., but even more so. So in some things they're ahead of the U.S., but other things they're not.
Yeah, other things that could be very far behind. Like I'll tell you, even the condo that I pay for right now, it's post-dated checks. Like I'm not doing Gcash, and I'm not strict about that. So when I came out here, I'm like 2 months advance, two months security deposit, and I have to pay with post-dated checks. So also open up a local bank account. I was like, this is Stone Age type of deals here.
Yeah.
But that's just the way of life here. But so you initially moved here because you love the people. You went on a medical mission here. How about the cost of living? Would you say that's one of the aspects of why you wanted to come out?
Yeah. Well, here in BGC, the food is probably more expensive than the rest of the country. I mean, provinces for sure. But even then, I'm always texting home, take with a picture. Like, I'll order a meal and I'll send it to my sister or one of my brothers, and I'll say, hey, I just had this great meal, and it was, a meal for two, and it was, $17. In the U.S., it would be like, $40 or $50. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Even when you compare the cost of living in the most expensive city in BGC relative to a normal state in the U.S., it's still more affordable here, which is insane. So you get kind of New York style conveniences whilst paying minimal prices.
Yeah.
But kind of comparing your expenses in living in Wisconsin to living in BGC, what did that look like as far as your accommodation or rent?
So it's just me, and I have a 2-bedroom condo because I like the space. Because I'm used to a really big home. And so it's over 80 square meters, which is pretty good size, and it's just roughly about $1,000 a month.
Wow.
And it's on the 30th floor. It's a beautiful view of the Manila American War Memorial Cemetery. I just love sitting on the balcony in the morning, sipping my coffee. It's the rainy season now, so it's been a little hard, but I do enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. That's true retired life.
And I'm only 5 minutes away from one of the really nicest malls, SM Aura. And so if I need something or forget something, I can walk right over and get whatever I want. Yeah.
So you're paying $1,000 in the most expensive city in the Philippines for rent. How did that compare to your expenses in Wisconsin? USA?
Really hard because I lived rural Wisconsin, so I have no comparison for condos in the city.
Yep.
I'm a kind of a rural country boy, small city, so it's hard for me to compare. But I know it would be double, triple, quadruple anywhere else. It's just prices here are just very reasonable, even though they're high for the Philippines.
Did you own your house in Wisconsin? I gotcha. And you were telling me it was like 13 acres of land you had there. So to go from having that much space to now living in a city, it must be very different.
Yeah.
And so when we were on call and you were telling me a little bit about your move and what you're looking to do out here in the Philippines, you were part-time, or you were an on-call nurse in Wisconsin, correct?
Right.
On-call nurse. And you had the option to either go back to the States and work because you're already here in the Philippines now, or you could stay in the Philippines and retire. And from the looks of it, it's you're sitting on your balcony and overlooking the Memorial Cemetery. It sounds like you chose the latter, the retired life.
Yeah, I don't miss work. I miss the people that I worked with. I miss that, but I don't miss being on call and having to be available. Emergency surgeries, I don't miss that at all. It's kind of changed over the years. Initially, I thought, I'll work until I'm 70, and then as I got closer, I'm like, I'll work until I'm full retirement age. For me, that's 66 and 8 months. I haven't reached that yet. I ended up retiring even before that.
So you threw in the towel a little earlier. It's like it's too nice on the other side of life. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the other thing is, I was worried about family, and I'm communicating more with my kids on WhatsApp than I communicated with them when I lived in Wisconsin, because I was living by myself. So I think, that was a fear I had that I didn't have to have.
Right. What made you want to choose BGC over other cities and provinces in the Philippines?
Well, in Davao, I just thought was too hard to get anywhere. Every time I wanted to go someplace, I had to book a Grab. I had to here everything is so close. I mean, you can walk from one end to the other end of BGC in about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour at the most. Cebu City was a little bit, everyone says, a little mix of provincial with the city. But there again, just not as convenient living as it is right here.
Right.
And one of your vlogs addressed it, talking about, live here in BGC, and when you want to go to the provinces, book a vacation.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I've spent the first few months here getting used to things, getting used to where things are, and I've booked a vacation to Bohol, which is another island, and I'm looking forward for that. That's a little over a month away. So
Fantastic. So you have your nest egg here, and then whenever you want, you'll take a trip out to the
Yeah.
provinces. So overall, I mean, how would you say your experience is like living in BGC Philippines?
things are a little different. You got to remember, it's a foreign country. Like the phone, I went with Globe. I guess the people in my condo said Globe was the way to go. And then actually yesterday I went to go pay my Globe bill, and they were closed because of the flooding. I think there was people that weren't coming to work because of it. So
Every place, I tried going around BGC, all different kinds of restaurants because I like to eat out, and almost every place was closed.
yeah, so I'm still waiting to get my SRV visa. If I had that and my
ACR card.
ACR card, I'd be able to get the Gcash card, and once I get that, I could pay everything online. But I'm still waiting for that, and that should be coming hopefully in the next few weeks.
So bringing it back to where we first started our relationship, we were talking about, we say a year and a half ago nearly.
Yeah, it's probably about a year.
Probably about a year. So taking it back to when you first started talking about a year ago, what would you say is the main reasons you wanted to hop on call with me to begin with?
So watching your vlog, I was watching a few other vlogs, but yours, from what I was experiencing, and your was the third time I had come to the Philippines. Yours was the most spot on as far as, where you should go and stuff. And just like for an example, you said live in a bigger city. Well, a lot of guys, like, I'm going to retire and I'm going to go to the Caribbean and live on the beach. Well, you can do that here, but you're going to go to the grocery store and not find anything you're familiar with. But here you can, and you can go. Now you may not find it every time, but like I go just a 10-minute walk away, and there's a big supermarket, and they have an international section, so you can find foods with the same names as what you might experience in the U.S.
During those planning stages of your transition to a completely new country, what would you say were your main concerns or bottlenecks that you had at the time?
Well, my major concern was, missing family and stuff. I actually thought for a while of having two places, having a place in the U.S. and having the condo here. And actually, I thought about like staying here like during the winter months and then living in the U.S. during the summer months. But then I've got two places that I've got to pay for, and one's going to be sitting empty half of the year, and you'd have to figure out some way to have somebody keeping an eye on it. When I go back, I think I'll just take a long vacation, and if I have to Airbnb it, I'll do that rather than and then maybe rent a car if I have to a car, or just fly from place to place. That's another great thing, by the way, in the Philippines is they have very cheap airfare everywhere. From island to island, and even going to a different country, like Taiwan's only a 2-hour flight, Singapore's only 4.
Right, it's a great place to just
and it's all very cheap.
around.
I mean, it's very, very reasonable.
I wanted to ask Bruce, what made you want to use our services and have assistance with your transition to the Philippines as opposed to just giving it a shot by yourself?
Yeah, I almost did try to do it by myself, and in retrospect, I'm really glad that I went with your service, because there were so many little things that came up that I wasn't anticipating.
What would you say came up?
Well, I thought I'd be able to find a place to stay online. But then when I decided to go with you, you've talked on some of your vlogs about the skin tax,
Right.
And some of the real estate websites will have a place listed that looks like a really good price, and so when you'll contact them to get the realtor's name, and I've done this on one occasion, it was at the Bellagio, and it looked like a really nice unit, good size, and when they contacted me back, they said, "Oh, that's not available. The owner decided that they weren't going to sell, but it's still listed as for sale." So it's just like a bait and switch. And then the follow-up question was, "What are you looking for? I can find something for you." So they're just looking for work, but they're looking for people to sucker in.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they post the nicest looking units on these property sites, and the realtors will use it as a bait and switch tactic, so that once you opt into that, you inquire about the unit, say it's not available, or they do take you on a viewing and waste your time, and it's not the same unit that you actually originally booked for. And the majority of the time, the place that you look at in person don't look like how they are in the pictures. That's happened several times, even with the Airbnbs here. So that was a major thing that I wanted to have solved with these services. So I mean, all in all, Bruce, how would you say your experience was using our services with your move to the Philippines?
Yeah, really good. You assigned Sheila to help me, and she's been awesome. Available a lot when I've needed help. You've helped me with the SRRV and setting me up with that to handle all the paperwork. And that, like I said earlier, the paperwork is extensive here in the Philippines. There's all kinds of, there's medical, there's FBI, or here NBI clearance. There's all kinds of things you have to have. And everything has to be submitted. It all has to be done within a certain time frame. And I think I could have probably done it, but I wouldn't have done it nearly as smoothly as it was done here. They went right with me down to the Bureau of Immigration to file some of this stuff, and then a lot of it they've been able to do online.
What would you say, and I think this is a unique case for us because I hop on a lot of calls with expats, and for you, you were very certain with that move. A lot of the expats I talk to, they procrastinate with it, but for you, how are you able to pull that trigger and ultimately take that leap of faith with your transition here?
The last 2 years of my employment was at a small hospital. You came into play because I was getting to the point where I wanted to be finished and move. But the real estate market is slow. I really thought the house would have been sold by now. But
kind of taking it back to what you were saying earlier, you mentioned to me that you had a few little things come up with your move here to the Philippines, a few obstacles come up. Were there anything else besides trying to find a place?
Well, just the SRRV, there was some additional things that I wasn't anticipating. The nice thing is that if I have a question, like say, if I have a toothache, or if I call you or call Sheila, and then I'll get the name of a referral of a dentist that is known and stuff. And I had recently had a skin cancer removed. So at the 6-month mark, I was supposed to have another body exam, is what they recommended in the U.S. And so I'm here. Of course, I am on Medicare and supplemental insurances, but none of that pays out of the country. So I did make an appointment at St. Luke's, which is only 20 minutes away walking from where I live. And I made an appointment with a dermatologist. I went in, and of course it's out of pocket, And so she looked at my little scar, and she said it was going along okay. And then I said, well, I need my, they look at your whole body when they do an exam for skin cancer. She did that full exam and stuff. And then I got the bill. Now in the U.S., it would all been handled by the insurance companies. It would have been hundreds of dollars.
Right.
And here it was 2,000 pesos.
Less than 40 bucks.
Yeah, less than 40 bucks.
Crazy. That is crazy. So I mean, that just is a clear contrast between the prices in certain aspects of life in the States versus in the Philippines. But for those that are looking to make this transition to the Philippines and they don't know where to start, how to go about their transition, how to navigate the country, and they're on the fence of using assistance like this kind of service, what would you say to those that are looking to do that?
Well, I would say, if you've never been here, do what Evan said to do. Go check out the other cities and just kind of get a feel for what they're like, and see what you want to do. I have talked to one guy that was going to come here, and he was going to buy property. He was going to get the SRRV, and he was going to buy a house. And I'm like, well, you can't buy a house. I said, you have to, there's rules about buying land for foreigners, and all that kind of stuff. But he was going to live in the provinces, so I tried to steer him, towards you for that. A lot of unknowns, but your service offers a lot of answers. And if there's ever something that you're looking for or question about, you're available for that. And
of course.
Even now, I mean, you remember I was going to buy a place right off the bat rather than rent.
Right.
But then there was some blogs that said that properties were too expensive and that they thought they were a bubble and it was going to come down. So that's why I leased. But even now, I'm looking at down the road. I'm going to lease for a year, so I've got 9 months or so left on my current lease. But so maybe I'll buy, but you'll steer me towards somebody that is honest, So,
of course, not going to skin tax you or
yeah.
Now, switching gears a little bit, Bruce, in the process of settling down in the Philippines, what would you say were the culture shocks that you experienced here?
Well, having been here 3 times before, I didn't have any culture shocks. Most of the stuff that I experienced, I was kind of expecting to experience it. It's a little slower pace. They talk about Philippine time. Don't show up on time, or if you do, don't expect somebody else to show up on time.
Exactly.
Be patient. People are friendly. That's kind of the big things. As far as like buying foods, you might find something you like going to a grocery store and you might find it 3 times in a row, and then the next time you want to get it because you like it, they won't have it.
Right. Oh, out of stock.
Out of stock. A lot of stuff that's out of stock. Yep. Going to a restaurant. There's so many restaurant options here in BGC. It's insane. But that was one of the weird things when you order a meal. Say you order a dessert like a halo halo, which is one of their iced desserts here. They'll bring the halo halo out and set it on your table, and then I'm like, oh, that was for dessert,
Yeah.
So you have to make sure to tell them that it's for later,
Everything comes out at the same
time. Or they'll bring one thing out at a time, and that's kind of normal here, though.
That is.
If you're with somebody, they'll bring one thing, and then that'll sit there for 5 minutes, and they'll bring another thing.
So then your food's cold, that person's food is hot. The dessert's sitting there, it's melting. And then you don't know what to do. Maybe they just thought you had a sweet tooth and you were a dessert first kind of guy, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you said that the people here are very friendly. How would you say your experience was, and how do you get treated by the locals here in the Philippines?
Really, really well. And I would say that, when I'm walking with a friend and I'm tall, so I'm almost always taller than Filipinos. Security, people, they tend to look above my friend, and they'll look at me and say, "Hi, sir." They're very polite. Hi, sir.
Spotlight.
Yep. Good morning, sir.
Yep.
But that's a little bit like reverse discrimination. But
right.
It's nice.
You get treated very well here, and I think I get a lot of emails asking me, Evan, will I get treated differently because I'm a foreigner here? And I say yes, in a good way. You will be treated differently. Generally speaking, as long as you're respectful to them, they'll be respectful to you as well. And so another question I have, Bruce, is how would you say moving to the Philippines impacted your overall life and well-being as opposed to, living in the States?
So, after I was here a little bit, I started getting into the routine of going for a walk every morning. I try to do, that 10,000 steps a day. And then the other thing I did recently was joined a gym on Father's Day. They had a special, and it's like, I think $26 a month.
Okay.
For 14 months, and then I hired a trainer, and it's like less than $20 an hour, and it's personalized. It's 1-to-1. I mean, in the U.S., you might get a trainer for that, but you'd have maybe 6 to 8 people that he's doing at the same time.
Right.
If you had a 1-to-1 trainer, it'd probably be $40 to $60 an hour.
Wow. I mean, that's great. So, I mean, even on your physical health, you're able to work on that very well here in the Philippines. I think overall, just because you are retired, you have more time to yourself, you'd say. And of course you got the good weather here. So last question, Bruce, what are your plans from here on out staying in the Philippines?
Right now I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to continuing living here, and I'm planning on making this my home and vacation in the U.S.
It's reverse now.
Reversing it, yes.
Yep. That's amazing. That's great to hear. I mean, it's a complete 180, but it looks like you're a lot happier here in the Philippines and you're enjoying your retired life. And I wish you the best here on out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so a pleasure having you on, Bruce. Also, for those of you guys that are looking to move to the Philippines within the next 1 to 4 months from now, feel free to book a call with me so that we can discover more about your situation here, how we can help as far as settling your rental, visa, bank account, and healthcare. And so if you're interested in that, link is down below. Other than that, Bruce, it's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Pleasure working with you, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. God bless.